I got a question for you. Do you know what a Grandmaster Nightfall is? What it's all about? Absolutely. Possibly. Not really. Is that the name of a wizard? Maybe. Good answers. Why don't we become an awesome and familiarized big brain GM person? Let's do it. Grandmaster Nightfalls, GMs, the Big Hurt, whatever you want to call them, are a staple piece of endgame content since all the way back in Season 10. This higher tier version of the Nightfall is now right around the corner. But what exactly is the Grandmaster Nightfall? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's find out. They are a much harder version of the Master Nightfall, hence the name, with enemies that do hurt, like really hurt, so prepare for an ordeal. They have historically launched in week 7 of a season, when a full rotation of the 6 featured Nightfalls has been completed. Right now, this rotation is almost complete and GMs will be launching this coming weekly reset on April 11. They feature a version of contest mode where your effective power is capped, this being 25 below recommended, 1840 as of Season 20, so you will be capped at 1815. Before last season, Season 19, it used to be that you couldn't even enter a GM until you hit Pinnacle Power Cap plus 15 Artifact Power, or any combination of power that will get you to 25 below the recommended. Bungie changed this last season to make it so you can enter even if you hadn't reached that specific power. However, it may prove still to be a greater challenge. This was definitely a good change though. GMs feature mostly similar modifiers to the lower difficulties, and even more so now with all difficulties having a power cap. Examples include burn damage given and taken, enemy X throws more grenades, or drops Y on defeat. The current differences are that 1. GMs feature Extinguish, which is simply if all players are down, you're back to orbit with the definition of being the big sad, and thinking to yourself, wow, things hurt. And 2. Like Raids and Legend Master Lost Sectors, GMs have revived tokens, the little gold token in the bottom right of your screen that you may see periodically. They work exactly like the Lost Sector version. You start with 4 when entering the Nightfall, and can gain 1 more per champion kill. However, once hitting 45 minutes in the Nightfall, which is actually more possible than you would think, especially for ones like Glassway and Corrupted, your revived tokens will be wiped and you will only get 1 life for each player. I guess also another difference is that enemies have much more health and literally every little thing is lethal. GMs are a different kind of beast, so you always have to be aware of what is going on around you, including ships and grenades. They are very cringe. Especially Threshers, kindly delete yourself. Don't let the Random Drake or Stray Thrall destroy your world, because they will if you aren't paying attention or have tunnel vision on something more major. Trust. Just like other difficulties and most activities in the game at this point, scoring still exists. As is probably known, different difficulties have a different score multiplier, see in the bottom right of your screen, in set activities. For Season 20, the multiplier for GMs is 2x. This will likely get players to score as close to and above 200k, making getting higher Vanguard reputation multipliers, which are tied to score, a greater possibility. This will also probably make getting a 200k in one go easier for the weekly Pinnacle challenge. The highest multiplier is 7x for 250k plus score. Generally, score isn't too much of a concern, as you'll just naturally rack up the points as you play through the activity like normal. Just like with revived tokens, a 45-minute penalty will be applied where your score multiplier will become a whopping 0x, with your score also decreasing around every second or so, similar to lower difficulties at different time thresholds. Your score will start decreasing earlier than this though, like lower difficulties, but by a smaller amount. When it comes to rewards, Enhancement Prisms, Ascendant Shards, and Exotic Armor are still very much on the table, and do have better drop rates than lower difficulties. You get a guaranteed shard and a high chance of another, as well as 4 prisms and a medium chance of up to 2 more, along with the possible exotic armor drops and random legendaries. There are also adept variants of Nightfall weapons which allow you to equip adept mods. These mods giving some extra stats to your weapons, or can combine some other stats overall, including adept big ones which combines major spec and boss spec into one mod. The weapon also has a different color palette to its non-adept counterpart, says Adept in the weapon title and makes you about 10 times cooler and immediately the best around. Probably, I will hold the right to be quoted. New to Season 20 is the ability to focus Vanguard and Nightfall weapons at Zavala, something you've probably seen on most vendors already, for a cost, of course. This also includes Adept Nightfall weapons, but only the one in rotation for that week. These are much more expensive, requiring a new currency this season called Adept Nightfall Ciphers. These can only be acquired through a GM completion, but not just any standard completion. You get an amount of ciphers depending on your reward tier at the end of the Nightfall. The thing at the bottom of your screen saying silver, gold, platinum. For a silver, you get 0 ciphers, gold, 1, and platinum, 2. So to focus an adept weapon, you will need a big old 5 platinum completions. It does sound like a lot, but you also probably get a handful of adept weapon drops through standard completions. The last relative item in the Grandmaster category is the Conqueror title/seal. This can be earned through Nightfalls, but Grandmasters are needed to fully acquire it. Once acquired, you're able to gild your new seal and make it all shiny and gold. The gilding requires you to complete each of the current season's featured Nightfalls on GM difficulty. Unfortunately, if you've already completed any number of them to first acquire the normal seal, you'll have to complete it one more time as it isn't retroactive. To make this easier, some time ago Bungie introduced the ability to select any of the GMs of that season, as long as you have the ability to gild your seal, meaning you already have the normal seal. So theoretically, you could get Gilded Conqueror in a single day, at the possible cost of your mental health and grip on reality, if you so wish. This is in the form of a small node to the top right of the larger node. In the most recent Reflecting on Lightfall article, Bungie stated that they will launch GMs a few weeks earlier, in week 4 of the season, starting in Season 21, next season. As there is no seasonal power climb next season or limitations on power to enter, people who have already reached the pinnacle cap will only need to worry about the artifact power, and can enter GMs at evil... Evil? Really? You know what else is evil? My pronunciation. Anyway, as I was saying, people who have already reached the pinnacle cap won't have to worry about artifact power, and can then enter GMs at an even playing field quicker. Much better. The extra Gilded Conqueror node will still launch in week 7, however, for whatever reason. For the sake of all of you, and if my rambling is not making the least bit of sense, I'll include links to Bungie articles and posts that explain GM-related content in the description. You're welcome. And that's the rundown on how GMs are in Season 20, Season of Defiance. Some similarities, some differences, but overall pretty much the same experience and loop as it has been for the past some seasons, with additions of new core and seasonal builds and balancing across the game, not to mention weapon focusing. If you found this at all helpful, support would be greatly appreciated, so leaving a sub or a like would be super cool, maybe. Please. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and get ready for the big boy Nightfalls. Later.